was affected. Ari Lennox is not the fondest of me, and I'm not the fondest of overly sensitive people. I've never met the young lady, so I don't know that to be her. But in my time on Earth, the people that just overly sensitive grinds my gears a little bit. That could be a Joe issue. I'll get better. I'll talk to my therapist about it. That's one. And two,
talk to the internet.
Talk to the black screen.
Yeah.
And two, another peeve of mine, when people only want the great from something, it bothers me. It does. Some of the things, and I'm not speaking about Ari Lennox, I'm broadening this to speak to just people. Some of the things that the newer acts just say on the internet in terms of the things that they hate and the things that are really driving them crazy in this game, some of it comes with the game. I didn't make that rule. That's not Joe saying that. And I'm not saying that some of the shit shouldn't be rectified. But upon entry, some things exist. Ari Lennox last week, and we skipped this because it's not our business and it's not our place. And I purposely skip it, especially this year, because every time I talk about this shit, y'all just fucking drag my character to the mud. And I'm kind of sick of reading it. But last week, Ari Lennox did an interview with a gentleman that I was unfamiliar with. I had to go research him. And he asked something that was inappropriate. Well, that Ari felt was inappropriate. Which was, are you being fucked good right now? When you research the gentleman, he's a shock jock from wherever he's from.
Oh.
Like,
that's what they all are trying to be. Never mind. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Okay, but that may not make it okay, but they exist.
No.
Right.
Doesn't make it okay.
Where's he from? Find out where he's from for me, please, so I can give this gentleman...
The podcast or just in general?
Yeah, the podcast is from where?
Where they're from? I don't know.
Yes. Because he's from somewhere else.
I feel like it was South Africa, but I could be wrong about that.
I think so too, but I want to be certain of it.
I'm almost certain it was.
Right? So he asked the inappropriate question. She was shocked in the moment, said, how could you ask me that, or whatever she said, and then the interview continued.
Yeah, South Africa.
He's from South Africa. And later on her socials, she said, you made me feel super uncomfortable. How were you allowed to do that? You know, she went through it. That's what made me research the guy. And then I was like, because my first question was, why is Ari Lennox talking to him? I don't know him. I've never seen him. But that's Ari Lennox, so he got to be somebody. You didn't just pop up on somebody's Zoom. All right, you from South Africa. Well, then that led me to, wait. Well, Ari Lennox, I don't remember where she was going because I don't keep up with this, but that flight where she cursed everybody out, allegedly, that was a foreign flight. That was an international flight, right?
That was Sweden or something. It was foreign, though.
In my history, when something like that happens, you got to get into damage control mode. So a label is probably telling you to go sit with the biggest podcaster in South Africa or from over here or just from anywhere else. That's what I'm assuming. I haven't spoken to anybody. But that story kind of got swept under the rug, whatever that airport shit was. And then it was a few years ago that Ari Lennox was just very active on social media and maybe wasn't being received in the best light. So much so, to the point, I think the label hopped in and said, yo, you get off the internet. And then she announced it. I'm leaving the internet. This was a few years ago.
I remember that.
That says that your behavior on the internet, and trust me, I know, I was this. My behavior on the internet put things at risk in real life. Most of the artists, when the label tell you to go sit the fuck down, it's because you're putting something at risk. And that don't really make artists happy. So I understand that. But she doesn't respond well to some of this stuff. That's what I'll say, in the kindest of ways. She doesn't handle some of these things the greatest.
Unless your goal is to get people talking one way or another.
I don't think that's her goal.
I don't know if it is or not. I don't know.
So I don't want to pin that on her.
And when I say that, maybe it's not dependent on her, but in general, I feel like people treat the internet like that. They don't really care how I'm being talked about as long as I'm being talked about.
That's what I told y'all when y'all brought up that other podcast that I didn't want to talk about. I'm like, this is what they want.
Yeah, I'll never talk about them again.
Like, this is what a lot of people, I don't care how I get it. No such thing as bad publicity.
But Ari Lennox, I think
I'm not saying she's
I think
on
this
that.
stuff truly affects her.
I agree. I think it does as well.
And I want to be empathetic.
I just want her to get off the internet. If the internet affects you in that way, because not everyone is equipped for what comes with being on a public platform like that.
Mm.
And if that is the case, you have to now realize you're kind of like harming yourself. If I keep going on here, going off, and I don't like what I'm getting in return, maybe I should stop.
Yo, and I'm gonna say this too as an artist. I am. I wasn't gonna say it, but I am gonna say it, yo. Because I think I have the license to say this, right? As probably one of the most introspective acts ever, a rule of thumb for me was, if I say it in a song, it's in the world. It's on board to be discussed from people.
Mm-hmm.
If I go in the street and a fan see me, they might say, yo, that verse in Only Human when you was talking about such and such and such and such. Like, it can be brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's
real.
documented,
It lives.
It lives. It exists.
Correct.
That was something I used to battle with as an introspective artist. I'm not saying that the South African podcaster was right or wrong, because it's not my place to say. But Ari Lennox's last 9 verses have been sexually explicit. If you're sitting with a shock jock, I'm not saying that he's right or wrong. Don't try to twist my fucking words. You have to know that anything you have ever said in a song
Could potentially be.
is
Now-
on record to be discussed.
Now,
Could he have done that in a much more classy and tasteful way?
Of course.
Of course.
now wait a minute though.
But for Ari Lennox afterward to act like, where did he even find the nerve, courage, and gall to ask me such an explicit question? Fam, I've listened to all your last guest verses. I love them shits. Part of why I love them is because you talking that talk.
Now look,
You kill
hold
that.
on.
She be killing this shit.
She is.
Hold on. Now the problem with that could be, like you said, I had some international, not so friendly news. So the label could be putting me with this person. Now, I don't know who they are. I don't know how they give it up. The label could be saying, yo, go do this because it's going to help us with this. So I might go in there under the wrong pretenses, thinking that this person is here to kind of like help clean my image up, not bring up this shit that I didn't want to talk about. So I can't really put it on her because she might not have known that. This could be because she said, I'm done with labels. I'm tired. So it could have been a label move saying, yo, go sit with them. And now her mad at her label. Why would y'all do that?
Okay, but now let's go through it. When I first read this, one of the first questions I said, because it said labels, plural. My first question to myself was, who's her labels? I know her to have Dreamville
I thought
ties.
she was- yeah.
And Dreamville is distributed through where? Let's look that up so we're
Interscope.
right. I think Interscope.
Let's go.
That now puts you, Ari Lennox, on the Interscope roster chart. This is not a gender thing. I know a lot of y'all listening try to paint us as like women haters, like we them other doofy fucking niggas, but we're not. This is just artist shit. And it's how you're being looked at as an artist and performer. Interscope is the top of the top. It's the top of the top, the top of the top of the top acts. It's the biggest engine with the biggest dick. If you want to come out, or if you want grace, or if you want special treatment, you have to perform to this level,
Right.
or we don't give a fuck about you. I'm saying that as somebody who was signed to Shady. Eminem should have had all the fucking favor in the world at Interscope, and I'm sure that he still ran into problems. Because now you're talking about Joe Budden and Slaughterhouse versus the Interscope roster.
Yeah, the Interscope, right.
It's not Eminem. The same thing exists for Ari Lennox. So I don't think she's having a blast. I don't think she's having the greatest of times. Well, she said that. But what's not being said, because we'll never hear from the label side, is I bet you they say goodbye. So you better be careful asking for what you want. Oh, you want to leave? Oh, give us some points and go. Because it was tough to kind of get you, it was tough to get you to crack. You put an album out, we saw what it did, we tried to work on some singles, we put you with, who did that Pressure record? Pharrell? It just dropped recently. I think it was Pharrell.
Keep going, I'll find out.
We put you with whoever it was a bona fide hit maker. Typically when a label do that, we trying to make sure you don't miss.
They putting something behind you.
And if it miss,
Brian Michael Cox and Jermaine Dupri.
For real.
it says that they trying to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not have got one. I don't know how much runway she gets at Interscope today. This is all off the head. I don't know nothing about nothing.
And again, he's talking just as artists, nothing to do with.
Yeah, no, not as a woman. Not as a woman.
It's just being clear.
Famous business.
Yeah, no, as a woman, no, that guy should never speak to you that way. But you're not sitting there as a woman. You're sitting there as an act. See, and then she goes on to say, yo, you told my team that you would get rid of it and you didn't. Yo, what year are we in?
Right.
What year are we in? Who is still falling for, yo, I'll get rid of it? Y'all see me sit here when artists sit here, I tell them, face to face, document it. Yo, whatever you don't want, send the time thing, we taking it out. Like, I don't do what they do. Like, what ain't right, ain't right. Nobody
Them
else
don't do
is
that
doing
shit.
that.
No.
If you say it, it's
I got
there.
it.
Yeah.
The best way to get something to be edited out is to not give it to them to edit.
That's right.
And this is not an Ari Lennox thing. Again, if you in year 4, 5, and 6 today in the information age in hip hop, where every person with a mic is screaming the do's and don'ts to this shit, some of this you have to know.
That's kind of what I was saying.
Some of this
It ain't-
you have to know.
This ain't even just on a hip hop artist. This is just people in general. If you put it out there, it's there.
And that's why the questions I asked. I said, yo, how old is she as an artist?
I don't
Et cetera,
care.
et cetera. It mattered because
Dog,
How
I'm
old?
talking
I don't know. How old is
No,
she?
no,
What do
no,
you mean
no.
as an artist?
I meant
how many
as
years
in
active?
How many years?
I still would
had
like to know how
she
old
been-
she is.
She's 30.
See, because I keep falling for brands. I keep calling for brands. I thought Sweetie was 25 for mad long. You're going on 29. I'm viewing it different.
Sure.
I need to know how old people are. How old is up? See? And that's what I mean. She's 30 years old. Some of this is your job to know at your age and at
That's
your
all I'm
position.
At your experience level.
That's all I'm saying. Like anybody, if you of a certain age, if you're on the internet, when managers and publicists and shit used to try to get artists to join Twitter, I'm talking about back in my terrorist days, they used to literally tell them, yo, you gotta join this Twitter shit. This lets you interact back and forth with your fans. So if you're an artist and you don't know nothing about that, you think everybody I see on here is my fan.
Yep.
Until you log on and you start to see, oh shit, niggas is clowning me. A lot of artists never saw that before. Anywhere in their career, interview, they on my side. A meet and greet, those are my fans.
Right.
Anywhere I go, I never got a chance to see